Imagine standing on sacred ground, where the ordinary is consumed by the divine, and a voice from an unblemished fire calls out your name. What profound mystery unfolded when Moses encountered the burning bush, an event that forever altered the course of history and faith? Welcome to The Cross Remains, where we explore the enduring truths of our Catholic faith and the powerful stories that illuminate our spiritual journey. My name is Michael, and today we delve into one of the most pivotal and awe-inspiring encounters in the Bible. What did Moses really see at the burning bush? This miraculous event, recorded in the book of Exodus, is far more than a simple roadside curiosity. It is a foundational moment that reveals the very nature of God and sets the stage for the liberation of His people. Join us as we uncover the deep theological significance and spiritual lessons hidden within this extraordinary encounter. Our story begins with Moses, a man living in exile, tending his father-in-law Jethro's flock in the vast wilderness of Midian. For 40 years, Moses had transitioned from an Egyptian prince to a humble shepherd, a period of quiet contemplation and preparation for a destiny he could not yet fathom. The arid landscape and the rhythmic pace of shepherd life had become his world, far removed from the grandeur of Pharaoh's court. He was, in essence, a forgotten figure until divine intervention pierced through the mundane. This extended period in the desert was crucial for Moses' spiritual formation, shaping him into the humble leader God would later call upon. One ordinary day, as Moses led his flock to the far side of the wilderness, he arrived at Horeb, the mountain of God. This place, also known as Mount Sinai, would become hallowed ground, a beacon of divine revelation. It was here, amidst the rugged terrain and silent majesty, that Moses' perception of reality was forever shattered and reshaped. The air itself seemed to hum with an unseen presence, a prelude to the extraordinary event about to unfold. The journey to Horeb was not accidental, but divinely guided, positioning Moses precisely where he needed to be for this sacred encounter. And then he saw it. A bush aflame, yet miraculously, not consumed by the fire. This was no ordinary blaze. It defied the laws of nature, burning with an unearthly glow that captivated Moses' gaze. The sight itself was a paradox, a physical manifestation of the divine, hinting at a power that transcended human understanding. This phenomenon was designed not merely to attract attention, but to signify a holy presence, an interruption of the natural order by the supernatural. Moses, drawn by profound curiosity, turned aside to investigate this inexplicable sight. The visual anomaly of the burning bush was a deliberate sign, a sacred symbol chosen by God to communicate His presence without overwhelming Moses with His full glory. It was a controlled manifestation, allowing Moses to approach and comprehend. The fire, throughout Scripture, often represents God's purifying presence, His judgment, and His consuming love. Here, it symbolizes His immanence, His presence within creation, yet also His transcendence, as He remains distinct and uncontained by it. The unconsumed bush itself highlights God's inexhaustible power and eternal nature. As Moses drew near, a voice called to him from the heart of the bush, saying, "Moses, Moses." This direct personal address revealed an intimate knowledge of Moses, confirming that this was not a mere natural phenomenon, but a sentient, divine encounter. Overcome with awe and reverence, Moses instinctively responded, "Here I am." This moment marks a profound shift, as Moses moves from observer to active participant in a divine dialogue, a truly transformative experience for him. The voice of God at the burning bush resonated with an authority unlike any he had ever heard, demanding his full attention. The voice continued, declaring, "Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." This command immediately establishes the sacredness of the encounter and the immense reverence required in God's presence. Removing sandals was a customary sign of respect in the ancient Near East, signifying humility and recognition of holy ground. It served as a tangible act of purification and submission before the divine, a ritual stripping away of the mundane to encounter the sacred. This directive profoundly shaped Moses' understanding of holiness. And then, the voice revealed its identity. "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." This declaration immediately connects Moses to the covenant history of his ancestors, rooting this new revelation in the established promises of God to his people. It affirmed continuity and faithfulness, reminding Moses that the same God who called the patriarchs was now calling him. This lineage of faith provided both comfort and an immense sense of responsibility for Moses, solidifying his role in a long line of divine interaction. Filled with immense awe and fear, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. This instinctive reaction highlights the overwhelming power and majesty of God's presence. No human can gaze upon the fullness of God and live, and Moses' humility in recognizing this limitation demonstrates his profound reverence. It was a realization that he stood before the Creator of the universe, a being of infinite holiness and might. This fear was not terror, but a deep, reverential awe, acknowledging the vast chasm between the human and the divine. The heart of the revelation at the burning bush was God's declaration of his compassion for his people enslaved in Egypt. "I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cry, and I am concerned about their suffering." This powerful statement reveals God's active involvement in human history and his profound empathy for the downtrodden. It underscores his unwavering justice and his commitment to covenant promises, even when his people have strayed or suffered for generations. God's concern for his people's plight at the burning bush was the catalyst for their liberation. It was at the burning bush that God commissioned Moses for the monumental task of leading the Israelites out of bondage. "So now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt." This was a divine mandate, a call to a leadership role Moses never sought, but could not refuse. The transition from shepherd to liberator was daunting, but it was anchored in God's explicit command and promise of support. This mission was not of Moses' own making, but a direct divine imperative, setting him on a path of unprecedented responsibility. Moses, feeling inadequate for such a colossal undertaking, questioned God, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" His humility and self-doubt are relatable, highlighting the human struggle to accept a divine call. Yet God's response was not a rebuke, but a profound reassurance. "I will be with you." This promise of divine presence and assistance was the true source of Moses' strength, ensuring that his own perceived weaknesses would be overcome by God's omnipotence. God's assurance at the burning bush empowered Moses despite his fears. Moses then asked God, "Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, 'The God of your fathers has sent me to you,' and they ask me, 'What is his name?' Then what shall I tell them?" This was a crucial question, touching upon the very essence of God's identity and authority. In ancient cultures, knowing someone's name was to know their nature and power. Moses needed a name that would command respect and belief from a people who had suffered so long under a foreign deity. The answer would be a profound theological revelation. God's response was monumental. I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. This divine name, Yahweh, or the Tetragrammaton, reveals God as the self-existent, eternal, and unchanging one. It signifies his absolute sovereignty and his perpetual presence. He is not merely a God of the past, but the ever-present reality. I am who I am underscores God's complete independence and his active being, defining him as the ultimate source of all existence. This profound declaration from the burning bush solidified God's identity for all time. This revelation of God's name, I am, is central to our Catholic understanding of God. It signifies his transcendent nature, his absolute being, and his unfailing faithfulness throughout salvation history. This name echoes through the New Testament, particularly in the I am statements of Jesus, where he identifies himself with the God of Moses. For instance, when Jesus says, "Before Abraham was, I am," he directly links himself to the divine self-declaration at the burning bush. This connection reinforces the unity of God in both the Old and New Covenants. The burning bush experience was a profound demonstration of God's omnipotence, his ability to act outside the natural order to accomplish his divine will. It was a sign of hope for a people in despair, a promise that their suffering had not gone unnoticed by their Creator. The miraculous fire that did not consume the bush served as an enduring symbol of God's power to sustain life and to bring forth new beginnings, even from seemingly barren circumstances. This display of God's power at the burning bush instilled faith and courage in Moses. Beyond the historical event, the burning bush holds deep spiritual lessons for us today. It reminds us that God often reveals himself in unexpected places, in the midst of our ordinary lives, if we are open to seeing his signs. It calls us to humility, to recognize the sacredness of his presence, and to be willing to take off our sandals by setting aside worldly distractions to truly encounter him. The encounter challenges us to see the divine in the everyday, transforming mundane moments into opportunities for spiritual growth. The story of the burning bush encourages us to trust in God's promises, even when the task ahead seems impossible. Moses' initial reluctance mirrors our own fears when called to step out in faith, but God's assurance, "I will be with you," remains constant. It teaches us that true strength comes not from our own abilities, but from reliance on God's infinite power and unwavering support. This timeless narrative from the burning bush empowers us to face challenges with divine courage. What did Moses really see at the burning bush? He saw not just a fire, but the very essence of God. His compassion, his power, his enduring presence, and his self-revealed name, I am. This profound encounter shaped Moses, liberated a nation, and continues to inspire millions to seek a deeper relationship with the God who calls each of us by name. It is a testament to the fact that God is actively involved in our world, ready to intervene and transform lives. The burning bush remains a beacon of divine mystery and revelation for all who seek him. Thank you for joining us on this spiritual journey to uncover the truths behind this story here on The Cross Remains. If this video deepened your understanding of faith and divine revelation, please consider showing your support. Like this video to help us reach more seekers of truth. Share it with friends and family who might find inspiration in these sacred stories, and subscribe to our channel for more enriching Catholic content. Don't forget to click the bell icon so you never miss an upload. Remember, because his love endures forever.